Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your first look, or at least hopefully your first look, at the Su-25BM. This is a currently ranked 7 battle rating, 11.3 strike aircraft that will be coming as the Summer Extreme main aircraft reward, or really at this point the only reward that you can get that's an actual aircraft. But that being said, this vehicle is pretty much just the Su-25K with R-73s and I believe slightly better anti-ground ordnance, but really you might be thinking to yourself, wow, 11.3 BR, this thing has to have the same engines as the upgraded Su-39 or the Su-25T. No, it actually doesn't. Those have R-195s. This has the R-95SH, which if I'm not mistaken is on the same exact Su-25K, which is only 10.0 BR currently, which really sucks. Now, I did some quick math on the modifications. Of course, I do not have any of these mods unlocked yet, and it looks like this might have something like 20 or 50 kilograms or kgf extra takeoff thrust, so they might be slightly modified. I'm not entirely sure, but it is what it is. Essentially, though, you are getting an Su-25K, but with R-73s. That's right, this does get R-73s. So let's go ahead and compare them right now with the R-60MK. So in short, you have the R-73 up here. They do weigh a little bit more, as you can see, over the R-60MK. Interestingly, they are in a different spot. So if you want to equip the R-73s, it will take up an entire ordnance spot, whereas the R-60MKs don't. Now, I'm guessing that's because these do weigh a substantial amount more. They are 105 kilograms versus the 44 kilograms on the R-60MKs. But that's probably one of the smaller differences, as I'll show you. The lock-on range in all aspect is 3.4 kilometers with the R-73s. With this, it's only 2, so you are getting, what is that, like a 70% increase in lock-on range, all aspect, which is phenomenal. It's got a longer rear aspect range of about 3.5 kilometers extra. It's got ECCM, which is electronic countermeasures, which means, if I'm not mistaken, these should be able to track through different sort of countermeasures much more easily. It has a slightly lower launch range, interestingly, the same exact max speed, but it can go through 40 Gs of overload and has about 6 kilograms of explosive filler equivalent, whereas this only has 1.35. So you were looking at around 4 times the TNT equivalent on the R-73s as you get on the R-60s. Interestingly, and we won't be able to see this quite yet, but the way that this is laid out, it almost looks like you should be able to equip R-73s and R-60s simultaneously, which would be fantastic, especially if you switch up and you're like, oh, well, this guy doesn't have flares. You can just use the R-60s, then on people who might have flares or might be a little bit faster or better targets, go for the R-73s. Otherwise, this is a pretty standard Su-25K. It's got the KH-29Ts, Ls, MLs, you know, pretty much anything that will make the enemy ground team a living hell. However, again, this is at 11.3 BR, so we're going to have to wait and see. As you guys might know, I do have a little bit of a problem with the Su-39 as it stands, because I just don't feel like that thing is worthy of being 11.3 BR. I think that even though the performance is a little bit worse flight-wise with this compared to the Su-39, it should be a little bit better because it has not only the R-73s, but of course you should be able to equip that and the R-60MKs for 4 air-to-air missiles, which would be fantastic. But I will release that gameplay in live matches, hopefully fairly soon, once I do get a test drive. So that being said, let's go ahead and see exactly how this thing flies. This is the camouflage that you can get with it. I think it looks pretty cool. This looks pretty cool in and of itself too, so whatever you'd like. But let's go ahead and just test drive it. But again, this is pretty much just an Su-25K for now, plus some drop tanks and maybe some R-60MKs. That said, let's just get into a real quick test flight. So flight-wise, this is pretty much, again, the Su-25K or the Su-25, but with R-73s, except, of course, in test drive right now, I only have access to the R-60MKs, which is pretty cool, but it's not really fantastic. So pretty much Gaijin is, like, they are making it so that the 1.3 BR increase, the current 1.3 BR increase, is going to be entirely because this thing has access to slightly better R-60MKs plus R-73s, and that's pretty much what the difference is. So do I think this is going to be good? I'm not sure. but I know it'll be interesting. Now, unfortunately, it does not have a helmet-mounted display, which would help it. Let's go ahead and launch these at 2 kilometers. That should be a hit if I'm not mistaken. I think it can hit out to around 2. I did get a hit, but it looks like I may have just gotten him at the edge of the range. But this will be a definite kill, and there we go. So the R-73 should be able to get those kills not only more easily, because of course it has more explosive filler, but it should be able to get the, turns more easily and all that, so it should be able to go after more agile opponents, like F-16s and things of that nature. But otherwise, this will have a pretty standard ground suite. It will have ballistics computers for both air and ground, which is nice, but, of course, expected when it comes to the Su-25 series of vehicles. So that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this aircraft. I'm genuinely interested to see if adding R-73s will make this into a hell of a fighter, an air RB, but I'm not sure. It's going to be still a very good close air support aircraft, but I think the Su-25K or the Su-25T and the Su-39 will be better at 11.3 VR, but alternatively, this should be a little bit better once you get the R-73s in Air RB. So again, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.